When I got to 29, I literally got the boat to the UK and joined Alexander Mann. And my reason for joining Alexander Mann, I had a clear agenda. I was intending to go for 1 year and learn everything I possibly could about the recruitment industry and everything I possibly could about within that organisation at the time. They had a strong franchising business, a strong joint venture, a strong partnership. So I wanted to learn the different ways to build businesses. How would I do it? How would the commercials work? So my intention was to go and see it as my university for 1 year and then go back and start my own business. And very quickly into that relationship with the organisation, I had one of those eureka moments. I came up with an idea that hadn't been done before in the industry. And frankly, I thought the recruitment industry was a very shabby place. And I wanted to create something really new, very different, that anyone who was passionate about talent and resourcing would aspire to join our organisation. So my aim was to professionalise the recruitment industry. I think what I recognised very early on was I was probably totally unemployable. Because I won't play politics. I'm not going to play the game. And my CV probably wouldn't get me in the door of any company. So I recognised early on, to be successful, I'd have to create my own environment. And I was very focused on doing that. And actually often, I think people who, have something like disability or something else that kind of gets in the way of the norm, actually it's amazing how many coping mechanisms that you actually create. So actually, there's very few things you could throw at me that actually I wouldn't be able to cope with. So I think in many ways that, those different things along the way are what shaped me and made me who I am today and made me stronger. I think in terms of myself and what I've done, I've never necessarily thought of myself as a leader. I think what I definitely have the ability to do is attract phenomenal people. And I think my skill is actually almost creating a team of people with very diverse skills, bringing them together, orchestrating them in a direction that actually the sum of all of us together is very, very powerful. And actually the people I've admired are those people who've been able to actually pull phenomenal people around them to actually really create something that then leaves a legacy. And actually too often, particularly in entrepreneurial businesses, you have entrepreneurs who've got very good leadership characteristics, but I think often the weakness is their inability to actually bring the people beneath them. So actually there's leadership capability that can actually take the business forward for the long term. So that's often, certainly in I see myself very much as an entrepreneur, and that's certainly a weakness that I've seen in entrepreneurs. In terms of leadership, I have a very clear view of where I believe that we have the ability to take this company. And my team joke because I won't accept anything less than global dominance. And I really do believe that we've got, that we've created something that I can take all the way and that we as a team can take all the way. So I think potentially it's that belief that I have and that passion for what we do that other people buy into in the team. And I think it's certainly what the customers buy into. But one of the things I think I've learned along the way, and it's something that I hold very dear, is I think that one of the most important things in leadership is actually being authentic. And that certainly, I think when I got comfortable with that, I think certainly my leadership capabilities improved immeasurably since I've stopped trying to be what I think people expect a leader to be and just be myself. And that's probably the most powerful thing I've learned over the years. It's funny, I often get asked who are the people that have inspired you most, or the leaders that have inspired you most. And to be honest, there's so many amazing leaders out there. But I'd probably take a slightly different tact. I've looked at some of the leaders, and I certainly won't mention who they are, that actually I've thought, interesting, I probably would actually do completely the opposite of what you've done. So actually, often I've looked at leaders and sort of tried to learn from the things that I think potentially have actually led them astray or led their teams astray. I think my experience of why, and speaking to so many women over the years, why more women don't become entrepreneurs or don't build really big businesses is I think most women are actually quite humble about what they do, and most women are quite risk adverse. So many of the women, I think, when they set out to build businesses, I think they sort of narrow their expectations. And I think many go to banks and ask for just the bare minimum of what they need to survive. And actually what happens, they end up building tabletop businesses as opposed to businesses that, frankly, they're perfectly capable of building. So I think it's the being risk adverse. And I think it's very true. If you look at women's CVs that I see regularly, we put an advertisement out for a job, and I will have men, queuing up saying they're capable of doing it when they can do 5 things on a list of 10. Women can do 15 and they won't apply because they just don't think they're good enough. So I think it's something inbuilt within women.